Hey guys, welcome back to the show, and on this episode, I'm going to be talking about a movie that doesn't really make that much sense, but what more can you expect from a movie where half of the footage was taken from another movie? Robo Vampire is a movie from 1988, and from looking at the poster, you might be thinking, wait, is RoboCop in this movie? And he's not. I mean, at least not in the way that we're all accustomed to. This looks like something a high school drama club threw together the night before. It looks like something that I would do for this show. Now, this movie was written and directed by Godfrey Ho under the alias Joe Livingstone. Godfrey Ho directed an unbelievable amount of movies, and when I say unbelievable, I mean that I genuinely don't believe it. He reportedly directed 39 movies in 1988 alone, which seems impossible. But if you shot all of those movies using the same method that was used to create Robo Vampire, which was shoot a bunch of footage over the course of a week or two or three, then cut and paste that footage with footage from a completely different movie, and then dub in all new dialogue to try and tie it all together, could it be possible? Probably not. Yeah, the math still doesn't really work. But another way would be to just not direct the movie at all. Yes, there are doubts as to if Godfrey Ho even directed this movie. According to the stunt coordinator, there was no real director for Robo Vampire. As he remembers it, he directed the action scenes and the cinematographer directed the dialogue scenes. And apparently, in an interview with Hong Kong Cinemagic in 2007, Godfrey Ho doesn't even remember the movie. Okay, so let's get into what happens in this movie because it's pretty confusing, and I just hope that I can explain it in a way that makes some kind of sense. The movie starts somewhere. I don't know, was there a war going on here? I'm not exactly sure of the context, but from what I can gather, these are anti-drug enforcement soldiers who are out looking for smugglers, when suddenly they're attacked by a Chinese vampire who, of course, is immune to their bullets and likes to hop around. These undead creatures are a part of Chinese folklore and have appeared in many different types of media throughout the years, and even inspired a film genre in the 1980s. And apparently they aren't technically vampires or zombies, but I'm going to refer to them as vampires throughout this video because that's what the movie calls them. And I just want to point out, the best way to visually convey that someone is dead is to have their tongue sticking out. I don't know why more movies don't do this. This could have totally saved Talia's death scene in The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, so now we're in the layer of the drug kingpin, Cole, who's really annoyed with a DEA agent named Tom.
Listen, we must find a way to handle Tom, that goddamn anti-drug agent.
Boss, what are your plans then?
I've employed a Taoist. He'll train vampires to deal with him.
See, now I actually admire this man's progressive thinking. I mean, what else is he gonna do? Hire a hitman? It's pretty old-fashioned, don't you think? It's the 1980s. Modern problems call for modern solutions, and subcontracting the dead is pretty ingenious because nobody's gonna see it coming. Plus, you don't have to pay them. And, you know, it's tough out there, man. You gotta save where you can. Cole is like, all right, you guys gotta figure out a new way to smuggle the drugs. So Ken and, I don't know this guy's name, Mustache, start hiding the drugs in the coffins with the vampires because the DEA would never open a coffin. It's totally disrespectful. Of course, the vampires wake up and fighting these things would totally suck. I mean, there is just dust everywhere. And you just know this would be so much worse than your typical household dust. Just look how thick it is. It's like you could chew on it. We're talking hundreds of years of buildup of dead skin cells and fart particles. I mean, even if the vampires don't kill you, you're gonna have that smell stuck in your sinuses for probably years. There's no way you're flushing that out. Navage ain't doing shit. And then the wizard shows up. He's the one who was hired by Cole to be in command of these vampires, and he stops them by slapping these magical talismans on their foreheads, and then he finds out what the problem is. Someone swapped the heroin for rice powder, and that's what woke the vampires up. Because vampires are like nature's narcotic purity detectors. So Cole decides to pay a visit to his smuggler in order to inform him that they're gonna try a different way to smuggle the drugs.
Wait here now. I'm sorry to bother you. Is everything all right?
Cole, it's okay. Everything's under control. No need to worry.
Okay, come on down.
Once again, this man's forward thinking in terms of the drug trade is something to be admired. I mean, why not be polite? Why not be nice to your employees? I know a lot of drug kingpins want their employees to fear them so that they'll stay loyal and won't steal, but I think you'll get the same result if your employees really like you. Maybe even love you. Because it's really hard to betray someone that you love. Unless, of course, an even nicer drug lord comes along. So Cole is like, yeah, we're changing things up. We're just gonna start putting the drugs inside of the bodies of animals. And this is actually really gross. I'm not gonna show you the footage, but they actually cut open this bull and stuff the drugs inside. But I gotta give credit to the movie for providing a lot of variety. I mean, we've gone from hopping vampires to heroin-stuffed livestock in under a minute. And I have to say, Cole, I think this is a bad idea. Because as we all know, drug addicts are very picky, and I don't think anybody is going to want these drugs knowing that the package was once covered in blood and guts. Cole sends 2 henchmen to go check out the vampires for some reason. I guess one of them didn't get the memo that it was Casual Friday. So the wizard is like, I'll show you the power of the vampire, but you have to be careful. Here, wear these garlic necklaces. They won't really do anything, but I spent a lot of time making them, and it would be nice if somebody cared. So he starts trying to get the vampire to wake up. I don't know why the whole song and dance, the other guys did it with rice powder. But then suddenly this chick flies in, and she's like, hey, I'm Christine, and I'm a ghost, and that vampire is my boyfriend named Peter. And we were supposed to get married in the afterlife, but because of you, we can't. You know how you hear about couples that have been engaged forever? Well, this couple actually might be. So great going, Mr. Wizard. This is all your fault. You are the reason all of their friends are probably talking behind their backs. Like, are they having problems? I mean, he proposed like years ago. Maybe Peter just can't commit. I heard that he just got her the ring to shut her up. So you gotta let this guy die so that they can start planning this wedding and finding better friends to invite. So the wizard is like, look, let's be real here. You are from the West and Peter is from the East. Long distance relationships never work out. I'm actually kind of doing you a favor here. So he wakes up Peter and commands him to fight Christine, but not before giving him this sweet gorilla mask. They start fighting, and this is actually kind of funny, but then at one point, Peter recognizes Christine because of the birthmark on her thigh. I guess her face just wasn't enough. Anyways, the wizard agrees to marry the ghost and the gorilla as long as they both agree to obey him.
Alice, that lady ghost loves him deeply. Let's fulfill her wish. Besides, both of them will be under our counsel once they're married, right? A marriage. A vampire and the ghost.
Yes, a marriage. I mean, just look at the two of them. They clearly belong together. They're like the perfect couple. What do you have against love? Are you just jealous because you never had a summer romance? Well, neither did I, but you don't see me acting like a little bitch about it. Also, you might want to find a better venue for the wedding because it smells so bad down here. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like sewage, but not fresh sewage. It's like ancient sewage, as if it's been sitting around for a while. And you may be wondering why the mob wants him to do this. Well, the logic here is the same as before. Happy monsters equals loyal monsters. It's really not that difficult. Wouldn't you want these things on your side? So I guess Tom is discussing the drug smugglers with Agent Glenn, and Glenn says that their agents Sophie and Brown are watching the smugglers very closely. But Tom has an even better plan.
We should get rid of these drug smugglers. Sophie tells me there's a deal going down. I'm going to try to arrest them.
So suddenly, the smugglers and the wizard are driving down the road, and Tom and his team just appear in front of them, which makes you wonder why they didn't just do this earlier. Well, the thing about drug smugglers is that they usually don't like to get caught, so they run away and start, shooting with guns and stuff. And the wizard is like, holy crap, it looks like those bullets really hurt. Time to bring out the big guns. And by big guns, I mean dust-shooting vampires. They'll get me out of this mess by giving the soldiers a fatal case of zombie eczema. I guess the wizard can just call them in whenever he wants. They're kind of like Pokemon like that. Of course, he also calls in Peter, and Peter is like a more evolved vampire, not just because he gets to wear the gorilla mask, but because he can shoot Roman candles from his sleeves. So the wizard gets away, and Tom is taken to the darkest and most depressing looking hospital they could find.
So how's Tom?
It was a fatal wound. He's dead.
Since Tom's dead, I want to make use of his body to create an android-like robot, Mr. Glenn. I would appreciate your approving my application.
Are you assured of success?
Mm-hmm.
All right, your application's approved.
Wait, that's all it takes? That's it? Just, we would like to turn this guy into a cyborg. Are you sure you can do that? Yeah. Okay, go for it. You don't have any other questions? What about Tom's family? Do they get a say in whether or not you attempt to turn their loved one into a robot? I guess Tom signed the cyborg organ donor card, so they get right to work. There's no time to waste on trivialities like a funeral. We've got to veer hard into RoboCop ripoff territory here because the ancient vampires / ghost wedding / drug smuggling stuff just isn't enough. Anyways, we cut to a super modern infirmary, which in true low-budget fashion is just an empty room with a mysterious plus-minus battery charger machine that looks like leftover radio equipment. And so begins the DIY cyborg montage, where Glenn operates by welding together Tom's torso using what is very clearly a handheld sparkler attached to a screwdriver. The unveiling of RoboTom is truly a sight to behold. His body is encased in a loose, silvery gray foil jumpsuit with padded vinyl armor pieces on the chest, shins, and forearms. He basically looks like a bargain bin Power Ranger crossed with a walking baked potato. So they take RoboTom to the training yard and just look at him go, lifting up people by their helmets, snapping guns in half, shooting with perfect accuracy. Not bad for a guy who was in a body bag not too long ago. Meanwhile, in what feels like footage from an entirely different movie, because it is, these guys start beating up this priest because he won't tell them where the drugs are. So they knock over this cross, and great going. Now the drugs are all over the floor. They're about to kill the priest, but it's Agent Sophie to the rescue. They start shooting at her, so she makes a daring escape, and the continuity takes a flying leap out the window as well. And look, I get you're on a low budget, but you gotta try to make the stunt person look somewhat close to the actor. At the very least, get a blonde wig. Anyways, back at home base, they find out that Sophie's been kidnapped by a cartel led by a drug lord named Young, and they're like, oh crap, we gotta get her out of there before she talks. We have to find the right man for the job. And I know what you're thinking. They're gonna send in RoboTom, but no. They're gonna send in this guy. This is Ray. Who's Ray? I don't know, but he's not half robot. So yeah, definitely not as interesting. Anyways, they tell him that she's being held up in Young's headquarters, and it's obviously very important that they get her back before she gives up any information. Otherwise, they're all screwed.
What's it worth to me?
Well, I'd pay $1 million, but it's not up to me. The government will pay you $20,000.
Okay, that's not even close. I mean, why would you tell him that? What is he supposed to do with that information? Is that supposed to make him feel better? Like, oh, yeah, thank you for the imaginary money. It's a nice gesture. All you're doing is making the government look super cheap in comparison. I mean, why are you, like... Do you want this guy to like you? Or it's like when you're a kid and you tell your friend, you know, one day, if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to give you $1 million. It's the same shit.
I'm gonna need 3 more men and lots of ammunition. $30,000.
Right. Okay.
What the the hell, man? Like, what is the real ceiling here? This would be so incredibly frustrating. First you tell him that you would give him $1 million, but it's not up to you. But now it's kinda up to you. Suddenly we cut to Cole and his henchmen packaging drugs in a room somewhere when suddenly RoboTom barges in.
Don't move. Stop. Hey, drop your weapons. Come with me.
And is this supposed to be some kind of visor? It looks like somebody colored a piece of cardboard with a Sharpie. And not very well. Watching this movie really sucks because a lot of times it's hard to know what the hell is going on because it feels like you're watching two different movies at the same time. Because you kinda are. At one point, Ray and his buddy Andy get a photo of Sophie and they notice that the hand of the kidnapper in the photo has a tattoo on it. So then, I don't know, I guess in the middle of this urgent mission, Ray decides to kill some time by checking out the local arm wrestling tournament that's going on in the middle of town, and he uses his eagle vision to see that one of the guys has the same tattoo on his hand. Of course, this eventually leads to a knife fight, and the crowd sticks around because this is much more interesting than arm wrestling. So Ray starts taking him somewhere, and eventually the guy is like, "Hey, can we please stop for a minute? I'm tired of walking." Okay, so first of all, where are they? Where is he taking him, and why is it so far? And also, are we ever gonna get to this ghost vampire wedding? We were promised that like 25 minutes ago, and I'm starting to get concerned that it's not gonna happen. Okay, so now we're back with RoboTom, and he's on the beach, and as we all know, one of the dangers of going to the beach is being ambushed by ancient Chinese vampires. Now, it's very possible that this is one of the greatest fight scenes ever captured on film. I mean, it has everything. Guys evading bullets by doing flips, drop kicks, multiple attempts at choking, and of course, a lot of hopping around. Some might argue that maybe there's too much hopping around, but those people should be ignored and shamed. So believe it or not, Cole and his gang are just there, watching this all go down. Why are they there? I don't know, it's not important. What is important is that this is the best part of the scene because this is where they blow up RoboTom. So the DEA is like, "We gotta save him! Quick, light up the sparklers! There's not much time!" And after they take an electric screwdriver to his head, he's as good as new, which wasn't that good to begin with, so don't expect much. Okay, so now we're back with Ray's rescue team on their way to rescue Sophie from Young, and they go through this village that's been decimated by the cartel, and they see some pretty horrific stuff, like dozens of dead villagers, some who have been crucified upside down, and then one of the members of the team decides to go skinny dipping.
Oh, Ray!
It's a great view. You should bathe more often.
Yep, just what every woman wants to hear. You should bathe more often. No, I'm serious. Look, they're fooling around now. And she looks like she's having a great time. It's almost as if they didn't just see all that death and destruction and torture. Okay, so now it's finally the moment that we've all been waiting for. Christine and Peter are getting married. The wizard starts performing this ritual with fire and blowing the lids off coffins. I guess this is his way of introducing the wedding party. And so begins the ceremony, or is this their first dance? I can't really tell. But then RoboTom shows up.
Don't kill us, we love each other. You can kill us, but wait till our love's consummated.
Yeah, Tom, this is a wedding. Show some class. This ghost is begging you to postpone killing her until she can have sex with her vampire gorilla husband. Have you no respect for tradition? And this request makes Tom think about him and his wife and their divine love story.
What's the matter, honey? Tell me.
Leave me alone.
Suddenly, Peter and Christine disappear in a puff of smoke to some kind of ghost honeymoon suite, I'm assuming. And Tom is like, Okay, well, I guess I might as well leave. But suddenly, Christine appears at the top of a staircase, and I guess the post-coital afterglow for a ghost involves vengeance because she is ready to start some shit. This fight scene is pretty funny because you kind of forget that Tom is supposed to be a cyborg, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really understand what happens at the end here. They grab onto his gun, and then he goes flying, and they vaporize into some mist and go into Peter's coffin, whatever. I mean, what does it matter? It's hard to tell what's going on through a lot of this movie. Okay, so we're back with Ray now. Great. And they're being chased by Cole and his gang, so they climb aboard this gondola, which you might think is an awful idea because now they're stuck in a slow-moving box out in the open. Well, Ray isn't stupid. He knows that guns can't shoot that high, but grenade launchers can, and they blow it to smithereens and then capture Ray and... I'll be honest with you, I don't know her name. Anyways, blah blah blah, Andy and the boys show up and eventually rescue Ray and Sophie and blow the place up. Now back to the good stuff. Cole tells the wizard that they have to get rid of RoboTom, but holy crap, there he is!
Drop your weapons in 15 seconds.
I mean, why not just now? What's the logic behind 15 seconds? That's a really long time to give anybody to drop anything. And I don't know if it's just me, but by the sound of this, I would have a hard time taking this guy seriously.
15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
Okay, so now we get more fighting between the vampires and RoboTom, and it kind of makes you wonder why Cole thinks the wizard is still up to the task. I mean, these vampires have done basically nothing to this guy so far. The only time when he was even remotely damaged is when Cole's team blew him up themselves. RoboTom does make his gun materialize out of thin air somehow, but I guess the vampires just disappear. So he starts walking down the street. I guess he thought he had some time for some sliders, but holy crap, here come the vampires again. And forgive me, but I'm really not that worried about it for some reason. Even RoboTom seems bored with it by this point. Peter tries to use his sparkler sleeves on RoboTom, but it doesn't do shit, and this goes on for far too long. Christine scratches the wizard's face, which I guess kills him, and Robo switches his gun to flame mode to kill Peter, and yeah, that's the end of the movie. Okay. One of the things that I hate about this movie is the title, because as you've seen, there is no Robo Vampire. There's vampires, and there is a Robo, but there is no combination of the two. I think a better title would have been Robo versus Vampires. I personally think that's much more interesting, but then again, there's a lot of things I would have done differently with this movie. I want to thank all of my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and my YouTube channel members. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, but that's pretty much it for this one, and I'll see you all next time.